right, guys, welcome to beautiful Las Vegas. I am joined by guys that have fought Jon Jones. This is Jon Jones' return.
I haven't been confident in Paulo Costa since he lost to Israel Adesanya. It wasn't because he lost to Israel, but how he took the loss and handled himself in media afterward. I still find it to be unbelievable that Paulo went on record to say he couldn't sleep and drank a bottle of wine the night before his title opportunity. For me, this is burned in my mind like Mackenzie Dern missing weight by an entire division against the fighter formerly known as Amanda Cooper, now Bobby Brundage. I mean, how can you be going against a then hype train that seemed unstoppable? Talk the talk to convince the public that you're the one that can break Skinny Izzy. Then go drink alcohol the night before because you can't sleep? That makes such little sense that I almost don't believe it. Because why would any fighter risk something like that? It isn't professional, and it certainly isn't elite, which is half the reason why this fight is all the more intriguing to me. How good is Paulo Costa really? I've already posted a video about Costa not being elite, and still believe the same thing. Going back to watch his fights for this video, I am of the belief that his fight with Yoel Romero changed him. Much like Robbie Lawler to Carlos Condit, but perhaps not as severe. The entertainment potential itself for this bout is limitless. Paulo likes to move forward and showboat after taking damage, and Khamzat is going to be beyond happy to give that to him. But I'm not sure how much of an elite level fight they are going to produce. Paulo has good takedown defense at 79%, but in his fights from Yoel Romero on, he was taken down, save Adesanya, as no takedowns were attempted. Just baby making. If Marvin can get Paulo down in the second round, Chimaev is gonna be scoring at least one in these 3 rounds. Costa has decent to good jiu-jitsu, but I'm not sure if it's enough to stop bores in ground and pound or submission attempts. Paulo has propensity for fouling as well. In his fight after Izzy against Marvin Vettori, not only did he miss weight, causing the fight to be a light heavyweight bout, he was also penalized by Jason Herzog for a finger poke after being warned prior to it, and you can't blame Herzog either. He also reffed Costa against Yoel Romero and wasn't as stern when Paulo fouled Yoel with a knee to the groin. Costa also fouled Uriah Hall a couple of times in their fight. In Romero Costa, Dominic Cruz and Joe Rogan kept saying how hard Paulo hits. I don't agree with that assessment. I think he doesn't hit as hard as it appears. Don't get me wrong, you couldn't pay me enough to take a body shot or overhand right from Bohachinha, but since fighting Romero, he hasn't won anything outside of a decision, and that's including a 36-year-old Luke Rockhold. I'm not sure he can earn Khamzat's respect by trying to box him, but he can earn some of it with body and leg kicks. I think Paulo Costa is a personality, for sure, but a difficult one. He is far smarter than what many think he is, and he is actually quite funny in both social media and speaking to media. I feel that for Paulo, this is finally a fight that the UFC is booking to figure out where Bohachinha stands. This guy has been ranked at least 7 for the last 3 years, fighting once per year and not having a W over any fighter in the top 15 middleweight division of the UFC. But I don't think the pressure is solely on Paulo Costa. How good is Khamzat Chimaev really? It would be near absurd to say he isn't elite. I feel you have to be in order to zero out someone like Kevin Holland, or hang 5 rounds with a couple of takedowns on Gilbert Burns and win. But Khamzat came close to losing his O that night, and many believe it's because of his willingness to brawl. We haven't had an opportunity to see what adjustments Khamzat has made since fighting Gil, being that he made Holland a grappling dummy, but I'm not certain he will just ragdoll Paulo like he did to Li Jiliang. The Leech, remember that? Drug him to Dana so he could go talk real quick while in the middle of a fight? Another thing that concerns me is why Khamzat has been MIA for so long after having such a strong strength of schedule. Is he having injuries? Visa issues? Something else? It's hard for me to think Boris can Gerald Mearshot Paulo Costa as well. Paulo can take some solid hits, and I'd imagine he's the bigger guy come fight night. Sure, Chimaev is putting on weight, but I don't think he's going to look bigger than Bohachinia at the ceremonies. Khamzat winning this fight can lead to some interesting permutations. For example, if Dricus du Plessis is out for now and the #1 contender, we could see Khamzat fighting Robert Whittaker or Sean Strickland at UFC 300 with Israel finally facing Dricus. That's of course if Khamzat beats Paulo. I believe that, especially if Khamzat wins via finish. It's also if Strickland goes to Australia. It's also if Strickland goes to Australia. It's also if Strickland goes to Australia to fight Izzy and loses, which in my view isn't necessarily guaranteed. If all that happens, the UFC may keep Costa somewhere in the top 15 if not the top 10, and we could see him against Strickland for UFC 300. By the way, I believe UFC 300 is going to be gigantic and include your boy, Conor McGregor. This may sound too epic to some, but by that time the UFC should be unified with the WWE under TKO Group Holdings LLC. Welcome to TKO Talk. I expect to see all kinds of crazy shit that weekend, featuring the Paul brothers, the Diaz brothers, Brock Lesnar, Bobby Lashley, Ronda Rousey, and so on. Anyway, Khamzat losing would likely make his next fight at welterweight. That's if he can make weight. I'm sorry to tinfoil it up a bit here, but I kind of think that Khamzat's weight cutting may be a real issue, which is what led to his layoff to bulk up to be a true contender at middleweight. But just a feeling. We will see. I'm not quite over the Chimaev-Diaz press conference debacle. That was so sketch and smoothly done. I just don't buy that was some off-the-cuff decision to cancel the presser and switch up all the matches. Out of here. Khamzat shouldn't be rewarded for missing weight, and as far as this booking goes, he isn't. But we should be getting Colby Covington and Khamzat Chimaev. That has epic written all over it for so many different reasons. A true contender fight, and I believe it holds bigger stakes than a fight against Paulo Costa. It's wild to me that Bilal Muhammad can't get in there somewhere, by the way. Paulo Costa and Khamzat Chimaev is one of the most I have no idea fights to come up in quite a while. I believe there is more on the line for Bohachinia than there is for Boers, but I do think only Chimaev is up for a title fight if he wins, especially with the finish, and I think we would see that at UFC 300.
Hey, I'm not surprised, motherfuckers.